Hello, anime fans. We are the anime connoisseurs, and today, me, Noah, and Chaos Metal Dragon will be going over the recently concluded Gundam: The Witch from Mercury, the latest series in the Gundam franchise.
Yeah, this is a series I was looking forward to for a while. If you remember correctly, we had a video before of this. I started this series with Char. They're not available at this point. They actually just got finished moving to Arizona, so congrats to that.
Yeah, congrats.
But yeah, this is a series I think we've all enjoyed very much.
Yes,
I am a
Chaos here.
I am a longtime Gundam fan. Noah and Char as well are pretty new series, but like this one is pretty good for starters, just from being sort of its own self-contained alternate universe, as many of the series are.
Yes, yeah. This, if you're a new Gundam fan who's looking for an entry point for the series, I think this is a good place to start.
Indeed. Oh, well, you want to talk about some of the things we loved about this series? I know for me, it was like the characters that are it's like the bread and butter of this series.
Absolutely, yes. I think the character work is excellent here. Suletta is an excellent protagonist. I love her. She's just so endearing in so many ways. Like every time she's on screen, I'm loving every second of it.
Yeah, she's just completely adorable, and then her growth over the course of the series is remarkable. Going
Yeah, her
from
growth, the kind of moral ambiguity she has that isn't really apparent at first is it's somewhat shocking at first, but then you like think about it and it actually makes quite a bit of sense. And
yeah,
seeing her kind of grow, yeah,
the big plot twist with her sort of
yeah, yeah, turning that
military.
one random soldier into tomato paste. Uh, but yeah, seeing her kind of grow and develop, and figure out what her own values and morals are, independent of her mother. That was all really good.
Yeah, and the way she grows into that, I think like one of the core sort of themes of this series as like it goes on is just family.
Yeah, family, for better and for worse, how you're related to them, and how they impact your life and your personality.
Yeah, family and love. Despite all the things that her mother and sister and some other people do to her, like she still like unconditionally loves them, and so that gives her the drive to like create this happy ending that we got.
Yeah, yeah. Speaking of love, I think Miorine works really well as a sort of foil and deuteragonist to Suletta, especially with their relationship to each other. That was the highlight. That's the highlight of the series for a lot of people. Suletta and Miorine's relationship.
Yeah, like the fact that it ended up being like sort of this Yuri sort of
Yeah.
like it was like the big plot twist of episode one and got a
Hmm.
lot of people hooked.
Oh, for sure, for sure. Gundam is known for being very like jargon heavy, very like involved with with the lore and technology and stuff. So another reason why this is a kind of a better intro series is because the story here is very focused on the people, focused on the the core relationship, and the other stuff kind of, well, I don't want to say secondary because that makes it sound like it's not really important, but it's eases you into it more with
Yeah.
this relationship.
Yeah, I'd say Gundam's always been like a character-driven story. It's like pretty much basically a war drama about the people who get caught in these wars, where
Hmm. Hmm.
science is more of a backdrop, but especially here, for better or for worse. But back to Miorine, yeah, I think she's a great character. Something that like really sticks out to me is how like she's struggling with sort of becoming her dad in a way.
Oh, yeah, totally.
And she has like the same sort of personality flaw of like being very cold and distant, no matter how much like they genuinely care for someone.
Yeah,
And
yeah, for sure.
that's
They,
like that was something I wasn't expecting from him, like at the start of the series, because like even like going from the
the prologue.
prologue, yeah, we introduced to him when he orders
Yeah.
the execution of Elnora's family and whatnot.
Yeah, exactly.
He was this family man who like just really wanted to keep his promise to his wife, his daughter safe.
Hmm.
Just
Yeah.
sort of going through this trauma of like the wars he fought in and not wanting anyone else to go through that, which is, and yeah, like even like the smallest characters get like really good development in the series, or like just or at the very least just like make a cool impact. I think we had Felty at the end where she saves Guel.
Oh, for sure, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm glad you brought up the point of family, because the more you look at this series, the more that theme kind of peruses, like that kind of fits into almost every character, every main character. Like you've got Guel and his like whole arc and conflict. You know, he kills his dad accidentally, but he still does. And that is kind of the breaking point for his character.
Yeah, and how he deals with that, and like just wants to make sure he can like take care of his brother after that and keep their company.
Totally.
That was Guel's development is just great. Like from like seeing like the stereotypical school bully.
Yeah, and then just just put him through the ringer for like
and,
12 episodes straight.
Yeah, like he gets like immediately humbled.
Yeah, gets his ass beat like 3 times in a row.
Humbled again, humbled again, humbled again.
Yeah.
I think it was like cute how he like immediately fell in love with Suletta after that first fight.
Yeah.
And their conversation afterwards, where he like it was cool how he like gained a lot of respect for her, just like learning about how much she values her family.
Yeah.
Yeah, just very good themes.
Yeah, Guel is definitely one of the better character arcs in the series, and there's also, I think, Shattuck kind of fits into this well.
Oh, Shaddiq, yeah.
He, his relationship to his adoptive father versus his relationship to the Earthians.
Yeah. I think another like aspect of his like his relationship with Miorine, where he like he definitely loves her, but like he doesn't have like enough respect to like sort of let her into things, or like respect what she wants.
Yeah, I see. Yeah, I get that too. Like,
which is like why their relationship fell apart, even though like he genuinely cared about her.
Mm-hmm. I mean, that's kind of the through line with a lot of Murine's failed suitors. They just kind of either treat Murine like, like a damsel in distress who are just kind of a political pawn of some kind for their own purposes. And it's Suletta is the only one who really wants to like stand with her as an equal and, just be with her as a person.
Yeah.
And that's why Murine like ends up actually falling for her at some point down the line.
Yeah. Yeah, a really nice relationship.
That's very, very cute.
Speaking of family, how about Suletta's sister?
Well, yeah, that was a hell of a twist. God damn.
I think a lot of us went in expecting, Suletta to just be like Aries' pseudonym, but like stuff started getting mysterious. Like, what do you mean 21 years ago? She's like 17, right?
Yeah.
And it turns out, no, she was like uploaded into the Gundam, and Suletta is a clone.
Yeah. Woof. I mean, it's really Eri as a character is pretty interesting, because I think just I don't know, because it's like she's perpetually stuck in that like that child form, I guess, even though she is technically older than Suletta.
Yeah.
And it's kind of interesting to see how she interacts with Prospera, and how Suletta eventually does kind of convince her to come to the other side, I guess.
Indeed, yeah. It's like very interesting because it was pretty obvious like from the beginning that the Ariel was sentient. I was thinking like it was Ilfrith, the like the Gundam from the intro that sort of grew its own AI, but like no.
Yeah, I mean, I at first thought it was something a bit more like, informal, I guess. Like, I don't know, like one of those horse girl movies where they, like where, something like that. But I don't know. It's I think the twist was executed very well. That Ariel, the concept of Ariel is a lot more sinister than we're initially led to believe.
Yeah, and like that leads into Prospero, where like I think she's like simultaneously a pretty good mother and like also terrible.
Yeah, I mean,
She
let's
like
talk about Prospera
she
because
definitely cares about her kids, and she like knows how to be a good mother, but she's also got like very sinister intentions as well.
yeah, I mean,
I'm glad she didn't end up being like a show Tucker,
yeah,
where she like
yeah,
was like doing experiments on Aerie and like turned her into
yeah.
Gundam on purpose. It was like
Yeah,
genuinely
it's a
trying
matter
to
of
save her life.
necessity in the end. But yeah, Prospera is a really interesting antagonist because, like, at first I wasn't really sure what to think about her. Like, the helmet, I kind of thought she might be a villain because, honestly, because the helmet was kind of giving me Char vibes. But
That is
like,
exactly what what she is, the series designated Char clone.
yeah, yeah, but
It's the first time we got a girl as a Char clone, which is really cool.
yeah, that's cool. Yeah, and but as the series begins, she seems kind of nice. She seems to be supportive of Murine, or excuse me, of Soletta,
Yeah,
and like seems to like want the best for her daughter. And as the series goes on, it seems like she's nice, and even after the reveal of what her goal is, she still seems to she doesn't seem to like she wants to keep Suletta out of harm's way, but at the same time, she clearly doesn't care about her as much as Aerie.
yeah. That's a running theme where like they certain characters do stuff for supposed own good, but like end up hurting her.
Yeah, yeah.
Kind of. Yeah, I think the characters in this series are just great. Who else do we have? Cecilia from the student council kind of thing.
Uh-huh.
And then,
Uh Choo Choo was unexpectedly really entertaining.
yes, absolutely. Little feisty pom pom head,
Yeah.
cute.
That's
Uh,
another thing about this one. A lot of the designs don't seem kind of, I don't know, kind of different from how you'd expect Gundam to be, and I think a lot of them work, but a lot of them feel very experimental for Gundam.
I feel like quite a few characters fall into like specific archetypes that we've seen in Gundam before.
Hmm.
One I think of is Sophie. Reminds me a lot of a character from Double Zeta named LPO Plea.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, sort of the bratty like freaking super soldier kind of who ends up like dying tragically, of course.
Yeah, she was the one who died in like episode 4 of season 2, right? When she died from permit, like the permit
Yeah,
overload. Yeah.
that that was her.
Yeah, that's a shame. I liked her.
Indeed, yeah. Like again, like small characters that who make like a huge impact.
Yeah, yeah. Speaking, maybe we could move on to like the broader sort of world building of the series.
Yeah, and I think that's where I sort of have issues with the show. Like again, I think this is it's still a great show, but like as a character drama, it's great. Action show, it's amazing. But when we get to like science fiction world building kind of stuff, that's where like I start having a bit of an issue with the show.
Yeah, yeah, I get you.
I think like the most big obvious thing is like the huge power jump at the end of the series, where it's like goes straight from one to Gundam Unicorn sort of
Yeah, yeah, with like
space magic kind of thing. Probably like is stuff that would work, but it needs I
yeah, it
think
needs more build
better.
up, I guess.
Yeah, because people like complain about Gundam Unicorn's level of space magic, but this is something that's been escalating from like the original series in the 70s over almost 20 years of the canon timeline of increasingly crazy telekinetic psychic powers
Yeah.
culminating in something that was frankly even more crazy at the end of Char's counterattack before that. But uh, yeah, it's like meanwhile we have
Yeah, they go from like, I don't know, moving some turrets around with your mind to like blocking the Death Star.
Yeah,
in 20 episodes.
yeah, and granted, Ariel was like generally up there in terms of power level as far as Gundam goes at the start of the series. It has like really powerful force fields, the attack drones that typically don't show up till midway through a series.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I
Yeah,
mean, Ariel was pretty OP at the beginning for a long time.
yeah,
What I am glad for is that like it does show that yes, Ariel is OP, but not without consequence. The reason Suletta doesn't experience the permit overload thing is because Ares taking on most of the burden,
yeah.
and it's
Yeah,
cool to see. Yeah. And it's cool to see how she like does eventually take on that burden when she pilots Calibarn at the end of the series, and actually has to like figure it out herself.
yeah. Regarding the technology, I think it's underexplored what exactly Gund does. We have
Yeah,
we have
it's
like a we have like a general idea that from like the foundational tech or like material that's used is permit or premit. I'm not sure how it's
yeah.
pronounced, but yeah, there's that creates sort of this is the thing like Shar and I were talking about. What exactly is the data storm? We're trying to
Yeah,
just
that
figure
had
that
me
out.
confused. All that whole plot line with like Data Storm and Quiet Zero and all that.
Yeah, what we try to reason out to be is Freeman seems to be some sort of like super semiconductor kind of thing. That's
Yeah,
sort of
that it's
like
it kind of like interfaces with the pilot's mind, I guess,
yeah,
or
yeah,
like
and like it's just
also.
so yeah, I guess it's called a data storm because it's just enough sort of data and electronic interference that it like sort of overloads the mind, all
Yeah, I mean,
overloads
and the
or
data
the
storm seems,
nervous system.
yeah, and the data storm seems to be like some kind of, I don't know, shared consciousness where all the Airy clones, and also shoot, what was the guy's name who had all the clones?
Oh yeah, Elan. Yeah,
Yeah,
that yeah,
Elan, and his, yeah, like all the Elan clones where they go to, and Sophie. It's, I mean, it kind of seems to like, I don't know, absorb their minds when they die.
yeah. Like how that worked wasn't clear.
Hmm.
In the case of Ari, it seemed to be a deliberate thing that Prospera did to save her life. But I guess I can understand the Elans sort of having that because there was that moment of resonance that they had that he
Hmm.
had. But then when it got weird was when the rest of the Ox Corp people showed up, like Cardo and
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
like
I forgot
everyone,
about that. That
like
was
everyone who
weird.
died in like the in the prologue is like, wait, how are you here? You weren't.
I mean, maybe they were like they were all experimenting with gun technology, but
Yeah,
yeah,
but like, when did they get in there? Like, is the thing. But
yeah, that could have been it could have stood to explain that a lot more.
yeah, and speaking of gun technology, just the applications of it, I think, were underexplored because they made this really big deal about how it's meant to exist as this sort of medical technology and or facilitate easier living in space, and we never really get to explore
Yeah,
that.
yeah, like
The
there's
most
this
we
whole
get,
thing about like how, yeah, the whole thing about how gun tech could be like, it uses for prosthetics or some kind of medical thing. And in a series that is about, decrying over militarization, it seems like that could have been gone into a lot deeper.
yeah, and again, they made this big deal at points about sort of helping humanity adapt to life in space. There's all these factors, and we never see real consequences of that, other than the fact that Eri died from exposure to life in space. But we also never get to see how Gund manifests to solve that, or other than like again just a few prosthetics. I think that we could have had more of that.
Yeah. I think in general, what a lot of these criticisms are pointing to is just kind of the fact that this series needed more episodes,
Yeah,
more time to
absolutely.
stuff.
Not counting like OVAs like 8th MS Team and Stardust Memory, but as a full-on Gundam series, like this is 25 episodes, so what's usually 50 or 40
Yeah,
something.
wow, yeah. That's very short in comparison to a lot of those other ones.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of things that would have gotten time to breathe and or get developed further in a typical 50 episode series just got really quickly skimmed past. For example, I think Guel's time on Earth, if this was another series like Zeta or whatever, what have you, we would have spent more time there.
Yeah,
So
and build up that whole subplot more.
And we got to follow his journey back to like space, because like he goes from like asking where the space elevator is to one episode to like very next episode he's back.
Yeah, and he's got a new haircut and seems to have gone over all that.
Yeah.
I think in particular, like the climax and denouement of this series could have used a lot more time. I think at least one more episode of just the what's the word I'm thinking of? One more episode of falling action, and where is everybody now? Would have been nice.
Yeah. Speaking of that, we never got to see like Suletta and Mirina's wedding.
Yeah, that's a shame. We could have gotten the wedding. I mean, it is nice that we saw their wedding rings, so we know that they are married.
Yeah.
Yeah, it would have been nice to see more of that.
Yeah. Also felt like the way the ending was shaping up, it felt like it was setting up for until like everything got resolved with the whole everything getting dissolved and whatnot.
Yeah.
Which was also weird. I'll come back to that, but it really felt like we were shaping up for another half of the series where you had to like deal with sort of the Space Assembly League. As sort of this oppressive force against.
Yeah, it seems like they could have. Yeah, it seems like they were kind of gearing towards a further exploring the Spatian and Earthian conflict.
Yeah, in like all of it sort of gets resolved in that one very short span of time.
Yeah, I definitely. I mean, I'm glad that they showed it as being like, I don't know, this is just one battle and not the war, and there's still more work to be done. But it still would have been nice to get some more out of that.
Yeah, speaking of which, talking about this earlier, the politics are another aspect that I think felt short, or at least a bit hard to follow.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, I was personally having a hard time like keeping track of who was allied with who and what the goals of all the different factions and the branches of the Benneret group, what they were all trying to do.
Yeah, I think one of the big things that really confused me is we find out that Ox Earth, this faction that was making Gundams initially that got wiped out, was still around and funded by the Space Assembly League. And how is this working exactly?
Yeah.
It's like, is Ox like the Illuminati? But I'm like reading this Reddit post right now that's sort of trying to make sense of it. So. Regardless of that, I still think the series did fine.
Yeah, it's like you said, this series is a lot more focused on the character drama and the interactions, and less so on the the broader politics of the series, which it works. The character interactions do work.
Yeah.
Anything else?
I kind of wonder if this was meant to be more like G Gundam, where it's like sort of actually sort of magical kind of stuff going on in this concept, and like it got converted to a more hard sci-fi kind of setting by like.
I mean, it was called the Witch from Mercury, so it does kind of imply some more stuff going on.
It would have been really cool to see this as like just like a mecha magical girl show. That would have been
great, actually.
That's been like a thing that's been done before, but like I think it was like Minky Momo.
Oh god,
a long time ago. Old classic. But yeah, Regardless of all those misgivings, I say this is still a great show. I would highly recommend giving it a watch. For me, if I had to give it a number score, I'd say an 8 out of 10.
That's what I was thinking too. It's probably like a low to mid 8 out of 10, probably.
Yeah.
Is that everything?
I guess like I'm gonna make a whole video about this later on. But if you watch Witch from Mercury and you've loved it, I guess something cool I could do is give some recommendations.
Okay, so uh, is that? I believe that's everything we have for now.
Yeah, I think
Okay.
so.
Yeah. So thank you all so much for watching. If you like this video, be sure to leave a like. If you have anything to say, leave it in the comments. And if you want to see more content like this, subscribe to the channel. This has been the Anime Connoisseurs. Good night, everybody.
See ya.